I usually try to stay away from using current events as backgrounds to the 434 videos, but this particular case is something that is difficult to ignore or get away from, and I thought I can open this video with it. Recently, I visited south of Poland, which is close to the Ukrainian border, and I witnessed how big Polish cities doubled in population in recent months. I visit these regions quite frequently, so I'm familiar with what they look like normally, but after the military conflict, a huge influx of millions of migrants from the eastern border made the number of people in shopping malls, movie theaters, and on buses and trains double or even triple in some places. Those Ukrainians who came to Poland waiting for the situation to resolve in their country spend the time like normal people, shopping and commuting. To someone from outside of these countries, they all look the same and do the same, but if you know what to look at, you'll notice that when these people are not busy talking to each other, there are small clues in their face expressions and body language that indicate obvious emotional struggle. I think this is unnoticeable to a regular person, but what was really striking to me was the realization that we have now in Europe a quite sad opportunity to observe a group of people and know exactly what their emotional state is and what their minds are occupied with. Unlike any regular person you pass in the street or when shopping, you can be sure that most of these people are tormented by an unimaginable horror inside, thinking about their sons, brothers, and fathers who are left in Ukraine fighting. You can be certain that when you look at the face of one of these people, it's almost guaranteed that they are worried about getting their lives and their futures back. You can only imagine what it must feel like to be in that position. I was standing next to a group of teenage boys from Ukraine, constructing a more or less accurate profile of their current emotional state. I absolutely did not mind them being loud, chaotic, and disorganized as most teenagers can be. That particular group of teenage boys was to me allowed to get away with a lot, and as far as I was concerned, they were excused from following social norms. I could guess the emotional baggage they were carrying around with them. I had empathy for them because I knew a part of the story for each and one of them. And then I thought about how we behave, for example, when we're being cut off in traffic by someone. When a stranger not using a turn signal gets in front of us and makes us slam on the brakes. If you're a driver, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and you know what you think in these situations. You automatically hate that person in front of you with every cell of your body because they just made you test your reflexes and the volume level of your horn. And now that you know that both of these mechanisms work fine, you're building up rage because what that person did was not right, and that person now should be put on trial for crimes against social order. Absolutely no compassion from any of us in situations like this. Why? Because we don't know their story. In our minds, it's an impossibility for that person to try to get as fast as possible to a dying relative in a hospital. Or for them to be a young driver who has no idea what they're doing because they're so stressed being first time on the road. There is not a chance that we did the same thing to somebody else in the past. It appears that empathy is conditioned by knowing the story behind particular participants of a situation. And the interesting thing is that there is always a story behind every situation. But we live in a world where selfishness and egocentrism are being promoted. The whole world of entertainment and celebrity culture revolves around instant gratification and concentrating on acquiring material goods. If you want to understand the reality you live in, try to think of a highly altruistic Hollywood actor. Not easy to come up with a single name, right? Yet these people are allowed to shape the minds of billions. To make things even more challenging for us, we live in the age of smartphone and social media technology that creates a fake impression of being connected to others and fulfilling one of the basic human needs of belonging. Yet in scientific research, the results of this say the exact opposite, and the focus on others and the empathetic desire to connect with real-life people are diminished as a result of using these devices. In fact, a big part of being a human is about being immersed in an illusion that we're separate from each other and that affection and compassion should be reserved only to a few chosen people in our immediate surroundings, completely disregarding not only everybody else, but also all the animals and nature in general. If we were to define the main characteristics of contemporary humans, it would be minimizing empathy and maximizing apathy. We falsely believe that suppressing any form of compassion has no consequences, yet being able to perceive other people's pain is such an important emotion that you can't build a moral mindset without it. Lack of empathy equals decline of your understanding of basic life values. There is no spiritual development or progress without empathy. If you consider yourself spiritual or religious, you can only do so by understanding the pain that others go through. The hallmark of civilized growth and development is empathy, in the same way as your personal breakthroughs are a sign of growing more compassionate. The ultimate understanding of empathy is that we are each other. Although this video is directed to those who want to learn about the benefits of compassionate mindset, we need to remember that there are those we call empaths who actually feel too much. Despite their significantly wider spectrum of emotions, they suffer the same from the hands of those who feel too little. It's a complex situation that we find ourselves in, and that's the reason why I recently decided to have a conversation with the entities about the ability to connect with others, and I received some really interesting new insights as to how we can become better by fulfilling our tasks on our path of development. In this video, I'll tell you all about these messages, and I'm going to tell you why you need empathy and how important it is in your life to access any human you need to. The benefits of being compassionate towards others are enormous, and it's important that you know about them. Once you're done with watching this video, I hope you can empathize with me and my hard work for you, and that you can sponsor this channel so that I can continue my work. There are plenty of methods, all listed in the video description, and if you feel like you want to return the favor, you can become a monthly supporter in return for access to regular personal podcasts. If you want to make a PayPal, Cash App, crypto, or bank transfer, you can do so in exchange for a scheduled chat, or you can buy merchandise. Thank you for your generosity. If I was to define one of the biggest benefits of using psychedelics, for me personally, it would have to be the enormous amplification of compassion and empathy. The main focus of Machine Elf teachings is to make us more compassionate and understanding towards others. Empathy is one of the elements of the hidden metaphysical mechanisms that we don't take advantage of in this realm. It is the foundation of activating supernatural connection between us that can bond and strengthen us as a consciousness collective. It is also one of the reasons why psychedelics remain still illegal in most of the world. A few weeks ago, Machine Elves offered me a simple manual as to how to access emotionally any human being of my choice through the power of compassion. As you might remember from previous videos, they very often allow me to look at myself through the eyes of my family and friends to let me understand how my behavior impacts the way they feel interacting with me. Unfortunately, it is very often not a positive vision, and it appears, even though I'm more emotional and compassionate than an average human, I am still far from what we all should be doing in this reality. They explain this to me by saying, your whole life is made of taking advantage of people, and for you, they are all in the category of profit. It is mainly about gaining something, and only recently you started seeing other categories. The main criterion you used was what they can offer to you, and when there wasn't much for them to offer, you were rejecting them like you did with many in the past. You are so preoccupied with your little world, with your nonsense, your problems, that you close yourself off to everything around you, to other people. You stop being an empathetic human being. You're very selfish with the problems that preoccupy your thinking. It's only about you. There is so much other stuff you should concern yourself with. Keep an open mind emotionally to allow yourself to feel a lot and to have a huge spectrum of empathy, bigger than you have now. You take that which fulfills your needs in a given moment and you use it to shape your future life. There are no templates. You create everything yourself. Start asking everybody in your life if they need something, if there is anything you can help them with. You need to have this conversation with everyone. The life purpose formula you discovered should allow you to understand what others need. The way I can explain to you these Machine Elf messages is that everybody is a taker on the most fundamental self-preservation level. We all need to secure our survival, which equals accumulation of resources and protection of our assets. But we blindly ignore the simple aspect of nature, that no animals survive in isolation, and that the biggest chances of survival are granted by collective, herd effort and mutual protection through sacrifice. On the most biological level, we are no different, yet we function as if these simple genetic rules were not applicable to us. They are, and at this level of social development, there is no longer a need to be selfish. Nothing stands in our way of becoming givers, allowing us to bond with others, eliminating this sense of loneliness, insignificance, and being used that is so prevalent in every human structure. I was told, concentrate on emotional needs of everyone around you. Asking what they need in a given moment is the key to every person. You'll get close to everyone once you understand what they need emotionally. When they open up to you, that's when you know what they really want and how to get through to them. When talking to other people, concentrate on what is happening in their lives and what is important for them. Don't talk about nonsense. The sense of you feeling worthless is a result of you not adding much value to other people's lives around you. Once you start taking care of other people's emotions, that's when it will change. They all care about what you have to offer to them from their emotional perspective. The way you take advantage of others is the same way they take advantage of you. And everybody functions the same way, but once one person becomes a giver, they will become an exception. You'll understand this message better if you take into account earlier messages, which I talked about in the video called Communication Channels Explained. Machine Elves told me years ago, the only thing that is of interest in you to other people is your ability to trigger their feelings. That's all they care about, what kind of feelings you can switch on in them. Opening the psychedelic channel of honest, emotional, and verbal communication automatically gives you access to another human being because it opens the same channel in them. This is how you create real connection. Remember that there is nothing you can do in this life without connecting with others, and the best way to do that is by honestly attending to their emotional needs, not expecting anything in return. If they're sad, make them laugh. If they're depressed, help them see the bright side of their situation. The access to every human is a simple key you cut yourself out of your kindness and genuine interest. Always be more interested than interesting. This way, your presence in someone's life will be first accepted and then desired. No one is immune to the healing emotion of being needed. Can I love? Can I help? These are the questions you should approach everyone and everything in your life with to turn it into an endless fest of love, joy, and hope. This is how you gain superpowers. Nothing starts, improves, or develops a relationship with another person as expressing genuine concern and empathy through non-judgmental understanding and practical advice. The simple fact of this earthly life is that humans more than anything want to be understood and comforted. Almost everyone you will meet in your life will be craving for sympathy, and if you give it to them, they'll give you their love in return. Everyone who comes into your life is either a healer who makes you feel better with the same or higher frequency, or a teacher who gives you valuable lessons through their actions and sometimes lower frequency. These are the only categories, and it's up to you who you want to become for somebody else. I was told that the key to making a meaningful and successful connection to the core of another person's being is perceiving them as the metaphysical spiritual entity that they are, seeing the soul instead of that organic body. You create the connection when you see beyond this earthly vessel that we all occupy. You'll become successful when you understand that we're all entities connected to temporary biological structures, and that many of these entities show up on purpose in your everyday life through loving emotions. In the same way as they appear to you, you can appear to them. But if instead you would want to learn about some of your personal benefits that empathy can offer, let me guide you quickly through the list. Compassion allows you to experience what it's like to be a human. Your earthly incarnation will be complete only if you share the joys and sorrows of the ones you came to this existence with. It does not mean feeling sorry for someone or looking down on them. This is not a relationship of a doctor and a patient, but rather a connection between two emotional and equal individuals. It means learning from each other and mutually improving lives by sharing both laughter and tears together. Empathy is what makes you a civilized human being. Your life will have an incredible added value as long as you practice enriching lives of others with your genuine concern and care. Compassion allows you to be happy and give happiness. That's where true life fulfillment is hidden. It's a win-win situation for everyone. The more we care for others, the more we understand and appreciate life, and the more we're in harmony with what this realm's lessons have to offer to us, guiding us through the invisible developmental stages we picked ourselves before being born. Nothing will bring peace to your life as much as caring for others and being cared for. Empathy is a magical key that allows you to open the door to comprehension of what other earthly existences look like. It is also an incredibly useful measuring tool if you want to learn what others are truly about. You'll recognize a great person by how they treat little people who have nothing to offer to them, as leadership is also about respect and connecting with others to motivate and empower them. Compassion is an incredible indicator of intelligence, but the most simple and basic benefit of compassion is your access to the wealth of this earthly realm you came here for. The lessons resulting from interacting with other humans based on their respect, admiration, and love. So how to become more compassionate? Empathy is strongly rooted in the ability to pay attention to others. We're all preoccupied with ourselves, and the moment you switch from constantly fulfilling your needs to caring about the needs of others, that's when everything will change. And to do this, you'll need to read their body language and listen carefully both to what they say and how they say it. Once you identify that which the other person lacks in their life, instead of trying to immediately offer them solutions and advice, something that in reality still fulfills our own needs, listen carefully and let them know that they have your undivided attention with no judgment. What most people really need is recognition and understanding, but observational evaluation of their struggles creates a sense of unnecessary separation between you. The best way to understand someone is to imagine what they're going through, or better yet, finding a common ground where you have similar experiences and where you're familiar with what the other person is going through. Always remember that you're not interacting with a struggling human being, but with a soul that is undergoing a difficult lesson that you might have even designed together. And remember that all of your life is filled with these lessons too. Whenever you approach someone, always keep in mind that they might be going through something much more difficult than you in a given moment. So try to remember what it is that you would like to hear and receive when you're going through these difficult moments yourself. The vulnerability and weakness of others should never be the reason for your accusatory attitude. Your positive reaction may not only change their world, but also yours. Empathy gives you a superpower of helping anyone, anytime, with any problems. Remember that ultimately, people don't really care what you know or what you've been through. What they really want to know from you is how much you care about them. And once they get convinced that you genuinely care, they will open their doors to you. Fulfilling selfish needs in order to make yourself happy is not why you're here. One of the goals is to make a difference in other people's lives, and what better way to achieve this than with compassion? It's not an option in this reality, something that you decide to do or not. Being useful and compassionate is a necessity. In fact, it is the best remedy for all the evils of this world, and without it, humans have very low chances of surviving. We do apply a scientific approach to many of our problems, but so far it doesn't seem like anyone has tried to address the problem of human indifference. And it's interesting because the ones who we really admire and praise are the ones who are extraordinarily good at expressing appreciation and concern for suffering of others. We need to spend more time learning about the value of attention, compassion, caring, and willingness to help. We really underestimate the power of simple gestures or even our presence when somebody needs us. It's easy to look at human history as a series of cruel events, but we need to remember that for every evil act that everybody knows about, there are at least 10 acts of kindness that go unnoticed. The next time you get in your car, remember that we all have a shared responsibility on the road to help others get safe to their destiny. And when you see the faces of people you interact with in your everyday life, be reminded that everybody needs to be treated with kindness and empathy because they are potentially fighting a tough inner battle they desperately try to hide from everyone around them. And you won't know how little energy they have left before they break down. Ask yourself if you want to be their last straw. Our future is made of simple succession of present moments, and once we learn how to turn our present pain into collectively shared future lessons, we will change the world for better. And it all starts with you, because empathy for others begins with being understanding and compassionate to yourself. Love 434. I hope this simple metaphysical tutorial on how to access others will let you improve your life And if it does, please donate to this channel, buy merchandise, or schedule a chat with me. All links below. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe and follow. Like this video and share it with everyone you care about. For merchandise, go to shop.b434.com. Leave your email address at news.b434.com. Visit the website of the artist and the musician I featured here. For more info or contact, visit b434.com and join 434's social media on YouTube, Facebook, BitChute, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Reddit, Discord, Telegram, VK, TikTok, Tumblr, LinkedIn, Dailymotion, and a few other ones you can see on the screen now. All links in the video description and at b434.com.